Right. Hello, everyone. Let's take a look at number 2 on the exam 1 review sheet. So number 2 here says that the data below represents the time in hours that a sample of students spent watching television during a weekend and their test scores on Monday. So it's really tough to see on the camera. It's not focusing well. But if you have the sheet, you could see I have the Minitab output provided here. So here's my regression output, and then over here I have my scatter plot and my correlation. So it says here, using the Minitab output for this data, describe, oh, it's cut off. So describe what you see in the scatter plot. So, and we want to use context. So remember, if we're just describing what we see, we're not really looking at the correlation value quite yet. We just want to see, like, describe what we're seeing here. So when we're looking at this, we want to know, address what's happening to Y as X is increasing. Do we have any outliers and do we see any pattern? So it does look like a linear pattern. We could see that all the dots are kind of following this shape right there, right? A nice straight line. So we can say something like, there appears to be a linear pattern as X increases, Y decreases. So we can see that it's going down, right? As X is increasing, you can see Y is decreasing here. And I don't think I see any outliers. Remember, an outlier for me on a scatter plot would be pretty far away, maybe something down here or up here. I don't think there's any outliers. So I'll just say no outliers. Just all right. And remember, that's not a measurement right here at this point. That is just a visual, the outlier thing. Okay, so part B, what is the value of the correlation? So this is my correlation coefficient value for this data set, and then interpret this value. So now this is my lowercase r. So lowercase r. Now lowercase r can be found here on the scatter plot or right here in the correlation output. And again, I'm really sorry, it's so hard to see. So right here, it's negative 0.757. Okay. All right. Sorry for zooming in and out so much. All right. So I'm going to say R is negative 0.757. Okay, I'm going to write that here and then I'm going to leave the space so I can interpret. So when I interpret, we need to think about what this represents. This represents the strength and the direction of a linear relationship between X and Y, and we always want to use context. So I'm just going to say there is now you could say, so for 0.757, it's not quite strong. Strong would be 0.8 or closer to -1. So I'm going to say moderately strong or moderate. If someone said strong, I wouldn't argue with that because it is really close to the line. But so I'm just going to say there is a moderately strong negative. So the negative is addressing that the Y is going down as X is increasing. That's my negative here. Linear relationship between TV hours watched, a little out of room, and test scores. Okay. All right, part C says, what is the equation of least squares regression line? So this is given to me from my Minitab output, and it's right here at the very top section of the Minitab output. So it says test scores, which is my Y hat. You can use test scores if you want, is equal to 89.82, if I'm reading that correctly, minus 3.586x. Okay. Okay, so there's my equation. Interpret the slope of my regression line. Remember, the slope is the value in front of x here, so that's the negative 3.586. So what this means is as I'm increasing x by 1 unit, my y will change by this each time, okay? So I will just say, now we have to think about what x is representing. So x represents TV hours and y represents test scores. So it's TV hours. So I'm going to say for each hour increase in watching TV, test scores will decrease. Now I'm saying it's going to decrease because I have a negative slope here to negative 3 by 3.586 points because it's a test score. Okay. So points, I'm going to say on average. Sorry, that's a little tight there. All right, so the next part says, how well does the line fit this data? Provide a measure of fit in interpretation context. Should we be using the line for predicting? Okay. Sorry about that. My little dog here. Okay, sorry. So, how well does the line fit the data? This is my R squared. So remember, we just use R squared when we're I apologize for that.